Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here today. I'm excited to present to you on the topic of design qualification, or DQ, and how it plays a crucial role in ensuring GMP-compliant, safe, and fit-for-purpose system design. Today, we'll explore what DQ is, why it matters, and the key steps involved in achieving effective design qualification. So let's get started and dive into this important subject together. Now, let's talk about what design qualification, or DQ, really means in our process. Essentially, DQ verifies that the design we choose actually meets the user needs, regulatory standards, and process requirements. It's a critical step to ensure that the system we plan to implement is suitable before we move into manufacturing, installation, or commissioning phases. By doing this early verification, DQ helps us identify potential risks, gaps, or compliance issues at an early stage, which is much more manageable than fixing problems later in the project lifecycle. This proactive approach is vital for maintaining quality and avoiding costly delays. Importantly, DQ isn't just a one-time check. It's a mandatory component of the validation lifecycle and plays a key role in our overall quality risk management strategy. It ensures that everything is aligned with both regulatory expectations and our quality standards, setting a solid foundation for successful project execution. Preventing costly rework after installation is a critical benefit of thorough design qualification. When we take the time up front to ensure everything is aligned properly, we avoid expensive adjustments later on. It's also important to make sure the design aligns seamlessly with user requirements, GMP standards, engineering specifications, and operational needs. This way, everything works together smoothly from the start. Strengthening equipment reliability, safety, and compliance is another key point. A well-qualified design helps ensure the equipment performs consistently, reduces safety risks, and meets all regulatory requirements. And speaking of regulations, integrating data integrity and regulatory expectations into the design is essential. It ensures our systems are compliant and that data is trustworthy throughout the process. Finally, having a solid baseline during design qualification provides a foundation for subsequent testing phases like IQ, OQ, and PQ. This baseline helps us monitor performance effectively and ensures the system continues to operate as intended. All of these points highlight the importance of design qualification, or DQ, as a crucial step in building a robust, compliant, and efficient system from the very beginning. Let's take a closer look at the regulatory frameworks that underpin our qualification and validation activities. First, we have the EU GMP Annex 15, which provides comprehensive guidance on qualification and validation processes within the European Union. It emphasizes that equipment and systems must be properly qualified to ensure they consistently produce quality products. Moving to the FDA, specifically 21 CFR Parts 211.63, 211.68, and 211.16, these regulations outline requirements for equipment design, maintenance, and calibration. They stress that equipment should be designed, installed, and maintained to prevent contamination and ensure product integrity. The WHO GMP guidelines focus on equipment and utilities design, highlighting the importance of designing facilities that facilitate cleanliness, prevent contamination, and support efficient operations. Good design is fundamental to compliance and product quality. Additionally, the ICH guidelines Q8, Q9, and Q10 introduce the concepts of quality by design, risk management, and pharmaceutical quality system. These principles encourage a proactive approach, building quality into processes from the start and managing risks effectively. Finally, GAMP5 addresses the system development lifecycle for computerized systems. It emphasizes that equipment, especially automated systems, must be developed, validated, and maintained to guarantee quality, safety, traceability, and data integrity throughout their lifecycle. Overall, these regulatory bases form the foundation for designing, qualifying, and validating equipment and systems, ensuring that our products meet the highest standards of quality and safety. Now, let's talk about when design qualification, or DQ, is typically conducted during a project. You'll notice that it's usually done during the early stages, specifically during the conceptual and basic design phases. This is really important because establishing the design requirements early helps ensure that everything aligns with project goals from the start. It's also done prior to procurement or fabrication, meaning before we actually buy or build the equipment. This way, we can confirm that the designs meet our needs before moving forward. Similarly, DQ is performed before automation or software configuration begins, so we verify that the systems are designed correctly before they're programmed or integrated. Another key point is that DQ should be completed before planning for vendor factory acceptance testing, or FAT. This helps us make sure that the equipment or systems will meet our specifications before we test them. Additionally, DQ is essential when we're dealing with new equipment, utilities, facilities, CSV systems, or any major upgrades. Essentially, anytime we're introducing significant changes or new components into the project, doing a thorough DQ early on is critical. So, in summary, DQ is a proactive step that should happen early, before procurement, before automation, and before major testing, to ensure everything is built right from the start. This helps us avoid costly rework later and keeps the project on track. Now, let's take a closer look at what a typical DQ assessment involves. First, we start with the URS, or User Requirement Specifications, which clearly define what the end user needs from the system or equipment. This forms the foundation for all subsequent design and validation activities. Next, we have the Functional Design Specification, or FDS, which translates those user requirements into detailed functional descriptions that guide the design process. Then, we move on to System and Equipment Design Drawings, which provide the visual schematics and layouts necessary for understanding how everything fits together. We also include P and ID diagrams, general arrangement drawings, and layout plans to give a comprehensive picture of the system's configuration. Materials of construction, or MOC, are essential to ensure that materials used meet the necessary standards for safety, durability, and compatibility with the process. Utility load requirements are assessed to verify that the existing infrastructure can support the new system without issues. Automation and control logic, including SCADA philosophy, define how the system will be monitored and controlled for optimal operation. Vendor proposals and technical datasheets are reviewed to ensure that the equipment specifications align with project needs and standards. Risk assessments such as FMEA, QRM, and HAZOP are crucial for identifying potential hazards and implementing mitigation strategies early in the process. All of these elements serve as critical inputs to the design qualification phase, ensuring that the system not only meets specifications, but is also validated for performance and safety. This comprehensive approach helps us achieve a reliable, compliant, and efficient system throughout the project lifecycle. Now, let's talk about the key evaluation elements in design qualification, or DQ. Essentially, DQ ensures that the design of our system or equipment aligns with several critical aspects. First, it confirms that capacity and performance requirements are met, meaning the system can handle the workload efficiently and effectively. Safety and interlock requirements are also verified, which is crucial for protecting personnel and ensuring proper operation. We also look at utility and environmental conditions, making sure our design can operate reliably within the specified environment and utility parameters. Cleanability, sterilizability, and material compatibility are vital, especially in pharmaceutical and biotech settings, to maintain hygiene and prevent contamination. Control systems and automation logic are another focus, as we need to verify that these systems function as intended and support process consistency. Data integrity features, following ALCOA plus principles, are essential to ensure that data generated is accurate, consistent, and reliable over the lifecycle. Maintenance, calibration, and lifecycle needs are also assessed during DQ, so the design allows for proper upkeep and longevity. Lastly, compliance with global GMP and engineering standards is non-negotiable, ensuring our system meets all regulatory requirements worldwide. All these elements come together to ensure that our design is robust, compliant, and ready for successful validation and operation. Now, let's take a closer look at what a structured design review entails. First, it begins with a vendor design presentation, where the vendor shares their detailed design concepts. This is followed by a comprehensive assessment by a cross-functional team that includes QA, engineering, production, QC, and CSV professionals. Their combined expertise helps ensure all aspects of the design are thoroughly evaluated. Next, we focus on identifying any gaps between the design and the URS or GMP requirements. This step is crucial to make sure the design aligns with our regulatory and quality standards. We then prioritize issues based on risk, using tools like FMEA, which is aligned with ICH Q9 guidelines. This helps us determine which issues need immediate attention and which can be addressed later. Documentation is key throughout this process. We record any deviations we find and note the recommended actions to address them. This creates a clear trail for accountability and continuous improvement. Finally, the design review concludes with a final approval from QA and relevant stakeholders, ensuring that everyone agrees the design is suitable for proceeding to the next phase. This entire process is part of our broader design process review, which helps us maintain control and quality at every step. On this slide, I want to highlight how we assess risks early in the process to prevent future failure modes. By doing this upfront, we can focus our efforts on the most critical functions, the key process parameters, and safety requirements. This proactive approach helps us identify potential issues before they become problems down the line. To do this effectively, we rely on several tools. For example, FMEA, or Failure Mode and Effects Analysis, helps us pinpoint possible failure points and their impact. HAZOP, or Hazard and Operability Study, allows us to analyze process deviations and their safety implications. HIRA, which is a hazard identification and risk assessment, along with fault tree analysis, helps us systematically evaluate risks and their root causes. We also incorporate QRM, or Quality Risk Management, as outlined in ICH Q9 guidelines, to ensure our risk assessments are consistent and comprehensive. The output from these assessments guides us in defining our test strategy for installation qualification, operational qualification, and performance qualification, those crucial steps to verify our systems work as intended. It also shapes our validation focus areas, ensuring we're scrutinizing the right aspects. Plus, it helps us develop mitigation plans and identify opportunities for design improvements. Ultimately, this risk-based approach influences our design qualification process, making it more targeted and effective. By integrating these tools and strategies early on, we set a strong foundation for a more reliable, safer, and compliant product development process. Now, when conducting a design qualification, it's crucial to evaluate whether the proposed design truly meets several key regulatory and security criteria. First, we need to ensure compliance with 21 CFR Part 11 and Annex 11, which set the standards for electronic records and signatures. This means the system must reliably secure data integrity and authenticity. Next, role-based secure access is essential. Only authorized personnel should be able to access specific functions or data, preserving confidentiality and integrity. Alongside that, audit trail functionality is critical. It provides a detailed record of all activities, ensuring traceability and accountability for every change made within the system. Electronic signature controls are also vital. They must be implemented properly to authenticate and verify user actions, especially for approvals or critical decisions. Backup and restore procedures are another cornerstone. These ensure that data can be recovered securely and efficiently in case of system failure. Network security architecture is equally important. We need to assess how the system is protected from external threats, including firewalls, encryption, and other security measures. Controlled configuration and change management processes are necessary too, to manage updates and modifications systematically without compromising the system's integrity. Mapping automated functions to the user requirement specifications helps confirm that all automation aligns with what the users need and expect, reducing risks of misalignment. Lastly, we cannot overlook data integrity considerations. These are about maintaining the accuracy, consistency, and trustworthiness of data throughout its lifecycle. All these points are interconnected. Ensuring each one is addressed helps us validate that the system not only complies with regulations, but also operates securely and reliably within our overall quality framework. Now, let's take a closer look at what DQ documentation includes. First, we have the objective, scope, and responsibilities, which set the foundation for everything we're doing. Then, we review applicable regulations to ensure compliance from the start. Next, we perform a detailed design assessment to verify that the design aligns with our requirements. We also conduct a GMP compliance review to make sure everything meets good manufacturing practice standards. Another key area is the risk assessment summary, which highlights potential issues and mitigation strategies. Vendor documentation review is also critical, as it helps us verify that suppliers meet our quality and compliance expectations. The URS to Design Traceability Matrix is a vital tool that links user requirements directly to the final design, ensuring nothing is overlooked. Alongside this, we perform a gap assessment and develop an action plan to address any discrepancies. Finally, the process concludes with approvals, confirming all aspects are validated and ready. An essential point to remember is that traceability ensures all URS requirements are fully met by the final design. This comprehensive documentation process, coupled with traceability, provides confidence that what we design truly fulfills all specified needs and regulatory standards. Now let's take a closer look at what a typical design qualification or DQ document includes. First, you'll see the objective section, which clearly states the purpose of the qualification, setting the stage for everything that follows. Next, the scope outlines the boundaries of the qualification, defining what is included and what isn't. The responsibilities section assigns roles and accountability, ensuring everyone knows their part in the process. Design references provide the supporting documents and standards that underpin the design efforts. The URS traceability matrix is a key element, linking user requirements directly to the design specifications to ensure nothing is overlooked. Then, we have the design assessment sections, where the actual evaluations of the design are documented. GMP and safety evaluation are crucial, as they confirm that the design complies with good manufacturing practices and safety requirements. The risk assessment summary helps identify potential issues and mitigation strategies early on. The conclusion wraps up the document by summarizing the findings and confirming that the design meets all necessary criteria. The approvals section captures sign-offs from key stakeholders, signifying that the qualification is complete and validated. Finally, the DQ documentation structure ties everything together, providing a clear framework for organizing and referencing all these components. Recognizing these key points helps us understand how a comprehensive DQ document not only documents the design, but also ensures it aligns with regulatory standards and project goals. This structure is essential for maintaining clarity, accountability, and traceability throughout the project lifecycle. Now, let's look at the key points included in the DQ conclusion. First, we confirm that the product complies with the User Requirements Specification, or URS, and Good Manufacturing Practices, GMP. This step is essential to ensure that everything meets the necessary standards. Next, we identify any gaps that we found during the review process. It's important to be transparent about these so we can address them properly. Then, we outline the corrective actions needed and the timelines for implementing them, which keeps the process moving forward efficiently. We also include acceptance or approval statements, indicating that the review has been completed and the product is ready to move ahead. Finally, the DQ report concludes with a summary that ties all these points together, reaffirming the overall compliance and readiness of the product. This conclusion is a crucial part of the validation process, ensuring that all aspects are thoroughly addressed before approval. Now, let's talk about how DQ, or design qualification, plays a crucial role before we even get to installation. Essentially, it helps us validate that the design is suitable for its intended purpose, ensuring everything is aligned correctly from the start. By doing this, we can prevent potential deviations, failures, and compliance risks down the line. It's like building a strong foundation. If the foundation is solid, the entire project is more likely to succeed. This solid foundation sets us up for successful qualification and operational performance. It ensures that when we move through the life cycle phases, IQ, OQ, PQ, and CPV, our system is ready and capable at each stage. In summary, performing thorough DQ is about setting ourselves up for success, maintaining compliance, and ensuring the system functions reliably throughout its life cycle. It's a key step that supports the overall integrity and efficiency of our projects. For further support, please contact us. We're here to help with any questions or additional information you might need. Thank you so much for your attention and engagement throughout this presentation. Remember, we're always available to assist you beyond today's session.